Hey guys, it's Carolee. I just want to share an extra little mini episode with you every single week because I want you to know that it's possible to do this thing called living your best life and doing the thing that lights you up while being a busy mom. And I want to give you a little bit of a background, behind the scenes look at what's going on in my actual life and how I am doing this, how I'm doing the things that light me up and being a mom at the same time. So I'm going to tell you about what's going on in my life and the lessons that I'm learning. Take a listen. I had a couple of calls today that were really great. I had a podcast interview with Becca and another call. And I had a realization this afternoon as I was just mulling over my thoughts from these calls, and it was this is real talk here, so be warned. I'm kind of a hypocrite. Kind of a hypocrite a little bit. One of the things that I love to talk about in my podcast interviews after I tell my story, it's this whole theme of wait, don't give up just yet. And it's this whole idea of hope, and it's really beautiful. And I've got this whole story. And yet I'm tempted to give up all the time. And I'm especially in this place at this moment. And it comes around every so often, but especially as I'm launching something. And I've told you guys this. You've seen it around. I'm not shy. I'm not hiding here, right? But I'm launching my workshop. I'm about to I'm working on my podcast Like a Mother masterclass, which is going to start in February, and the workshop is going to lead up to the masterclass, and I'm sharing about the workshop. The Magic of Podcasting workshop is in a week, and it is about this time in the launching process, in the I want people to come to my thing. I have this gift to share. I have this thing where I have this moment. We'll call it a moment. It's never a moment. It's a week of no one wants, and it's not even true. That's the thing, is none of it's true, but it takes over my brain nonetheless. Where I'm no one wants this. No one wants to hear from me. I should just shrink into the corner. I suck, I'm terrible, run and hide. I can't do this. I can't show up. I can't do this. Nobody wants me. Nobody wants this. They don't even want the free part. Why would they want, they don't even want an hour of me. Why would they want the 12-week version of me? And the thing is I have my whole podcast story that I tell when I go on other people's podcasts. And it's just wait. There's another chapter. And I know it because I've lived it. I had my launch for Black Friday, and it was I had the same thing happen. Where I was this is never gonna work, and I had my whole mental breakdown, and I was oh my gosh, and then it all worked out. Kind of worked out at the last minute, but it all worked out, and it was successful, and it was great. And it's I know that's how it works. I've been through it. I know that this is the process, and yet here my brain goes all over again. And I'm I feel like a hypocrite as I sit here and I tell people, don't give up just yet. Wait, there's another part of the story. And I'm sitting in it, ready to give up. there's this huge chunk of my brain that's like, nope, you can't do it. Terrible, you suck, no one wants this, no, like, you're a failure. Go hide. Carolee, go hide in a corner. No one would care if you just stopped posting right now. If you just didn't show up anymore, no one would even notice. Because no one really cared to begin with. And it's like, those voices don't go away. They ramp it up right before success happens. Don't they? They come out in just full force, like bigger and badder than ever to try to stop you. And one way that it's been put recently in the things I'm working on is they're saboteurs coming to sabotage you, to keep you small, to keep you from stepping out and doing the work you're meant to do in this world. And I'm not immune to it. Like, I'm right here playing in it. So if you look at me and you're like, man, she's just going and going and going and like hustling and doing all the things, like, I'm sitting here wondering if I'm good enough every freaking day. Wondering if I can do this. Wondering if I can keep going. I am very flawed. I have lots of things that I am constantly working on and trying to improve. And so that was just one of the things I recognized today, is like, what a hypocrite I can be sometimes. And then the other way today that I was a super duper hypocrite. And I was talking to Jenny Chaffetz, and she's freaking amazing. Love you, Jenny. And she has no idea that I'm going to say this because she's awesome. And we had an awesome call today. But just there's, you know how like one little thing can stick out in your head? And you're like, and then you like reflect on it and you're like, but that one thing, I can't get out of my head. So my podcast, Keen Sunshine, like, I didn't feel like all the knowledge that I've gained over my 2 years of podcasting. And it's not just the 2 years of podcasting and the trying to get guests and like interviewing people and like all of that personal stuff I've done, but I've also taken like so many courses on building businesses and, you know, storytelling and like building your brand and coaching. I've done all these coaching certifications, and I kind of have like a lot of knowledge up in my head. So like there's this huge wealth of knowledge that I have but I didn't feel qualified to teach podcasting until the number like reflected it. And we put all this importance on these stupid vanity numbers, and they're actually so meaningless. Like, they actually are stupid and meaningless, and yet it doesn't matter how much you say that, they hold meaning to us. And so I was talking to her, and we were talking about like comparison and how we've got to stop comparing, and we're always comparing apples to oranges no matter how we're comparing. And I was like, yeah, my Seeking Sunshine podcast is in the top 5%. And I've been saying that because that's what, like, that was the thing that changed when my show went from the top 10% to the top 5%. That was the thing that changed for me, that made me go, maybe I can teach this. Maybe I actually am qualified to teach podcasting. And it's like, the truth was, I was actually qualified before that, because I was actually helping so many people improve like the ease of their podcasting journey before that. And like, I actually had the knowledge before. I just, you know, there's always that part of us that's like, I just need permission. And that was the thing that gave me, you know, that validation that I shouldn't have needed, but I needed. And so she was like, oh, how do you find out the percentage? Like, how do you find out what your global ranking is? And I was like, oh, you go to listennotes.com. And so she was like, oh, I'm going to go check mine out. So she hops over to Listen Notes, and she's like, ooh, my podcast is in the top 3%. And she's so freaking awesome, and she so deserves to have her show in the top 3%. And she's like a brand new podcaster. And, I'm sitting here going, don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself. And she's struggling with comparing herself to other people. And I'm sitting here comparing myself to her. As I'm saying, don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself. And then, like, for hours, I'm like, am I even worthy to teach this? I can't even, like... That comparison trap is so easy to fall into. It's so easy to fall into. And no matter how many times I say, don't compare yourself, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, I'm still doing it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm being a hypocrite. Sitting here going, don't compare yourself, and here's me immediately comparing myself. And, it's a battle we all have to face, I think, in our own ways, and perhaps your ways look different, and perhaps your ways are exactly the same, and you're like, my podcast has X numbers, and it doesn't feel like it's enough. And you know what I can tell you? No one feels like their numbers are enough. There's a lot of podcasters who I know and who I talk to, and, like, none of us feel like our numbers are enough. None of us do. Okay? It doesn't matter what your numbers are, they never feel like they're good enough. And that's why when I'm, like, teaching podcasting, like, I'm trying to teach you that those numbers, those vanity numbers they're vanity numbers. Like, you've got to do it for a deeper reason. There are so many more reasons than the numbers to be podcasting. And the truth of the matter is, like, I had an advertiser reach out to me to ask to be on my show, to ask to pay me to advertise their product. So it's like, I actually do have an advertiser on my show. I actually am monetizing my show without, like, more than just my product, which my stuff has always made more money than ads. Ads are dumb anyways. Like, don't be wrong, I love the product I am selling, and that's not the point. What I'm saying is that, like, percentage wise, like, you're always going to make more money with your own business than you are with ads. It's always a truth. But it's like the comparison trap. It's something that we struggle with on every level, whether you're a podcaster or not. And so, like, how can we notice that and get out of it? And obviously I'm, like, wishing I wasn't being so hypocritical here, but I want to be open about it and show you that I'm not perfect here. I'm struggling with all of it too, and I want you to just come with me as I learn and grow and get better. That's the whole point.